I'm Elisa, and welcome back to Polymer Clay TV. Today I wanted to do like a little part 2 of my fairy jar because I only got through putting flowers on and things like that, and I just wanted to show you some of the things that I did to give you some ideas and some of the things and where I'm going with it, and I can show you how to piece onto glass as well, because I know a lot of people have issues when you're working with glass, and I wanted to kind of make it easier for you to work with it, because I've worked with glass for many years, and it really can make your project so much better when you find a really cool piece of glass like I did with this little mushroom jar. So okay, first comes first is polymer clay will adhere to glass. Now, someone asked a question about, for instance, on this piece here, if I left this on here without attaching something going all the way around, it could fall off. Yes, it could. If I pulled it off, it would definitely come off, but it's on there if you don't fiddle with it. So the thing is, if you want to do something just laying on there and it's not all stuck together, all going all the way around, you just don't want to mess with it. You don't want to wash it. You don't want to do anything like that with it. However, I have found over the years of working with glass that if you have clay covering the entire piece, like I've started to do here on the back, these are some silk screens I did, and I wanted a crackled finish, like a wood type of finish. I laid them on here. Now these will pull off too if I pull them off. However, if I keep continuing around the entire piece and it becomes one solid piece of clay on there, chances are it will never fall off. So the difference is, if it's left by itself, just hanging on there, it's not going to fall off just to fall off, but you could pull it off. So that's the difference. If you have the clay covering the entire piece, you have very small chance of it ever coming off. Whereas if you have it just pieced onto the glass, it could come off. However, you can rectify that by adding some glue, something like the brand Sobo, S as in Sam, O, B as in boy, O, Sobo glue. You can actually put that on before you even put the clay on if you want, and bake it on there. Or you could pull this off, put your glue on, and bake it on there. So there's several options. I just wanted to put it right on there because I have the experience with working with glass, and I know that it will stay if I cover the whole thing. For instance, this is the roof of the fairy jar, and it's completely covered. Now, I had silk screen. This is the poppy silk screen. Oh, and by the way, all of our silk screens are on sale 20% off until Saturday, because we just came out with some really cool new nature theme, like this crackle and the wood. So definitely check out our shop at createalong.com to see those silk screens. There's quite a few of them, and they're all 20% off, so now's the time to take advantage of that. But anyways, I did silk screen this with the poppy silk screen, and it was just left here about, midway down. And I said, well, I don't want to take a chance of it pulling up. I'm going to add some clay to it. So that's what I did here. I wrapped a piece of this clay. This is a metallic clay. And all I did was I took my poker and went like this all the way around. So it created that little look that the mushrooms have. And so when I put it on the jar, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I'll take pictures. It's super cute. It really, I think it finishes it off nicely, and it also helps to keep the top from anything coming off of that. So that's a really good tip. Make sure you're fine here without adding it to the lip right there. That knot's not going to affect anything. It's solid on this whole piece. It's not coming off. I can tell you that from years of experience. I went ahead and I put the fairy cabochon on top, and I propped her up with a leaf. And this is one of the leaves we have, and then put another few leaves behind it to prop it up. So I incorporated her into the top, kind of like, she's standing guard, and I just liked how that looks. So, yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want, as you know. So, let me give you an idea now how to piece the clay onto the glass. So I just did a silk screen, and this is the Zany Zinnia silk screen, and it's on souffle clay. I do find that the Primo clay has a little more, just the straight Primo has a little more flexibility to it than the souffle. So just consider that when you're silk screening. You can you can stretch the Primo. I feel like you can stretch it a little bit better. So, okay, so for instance here, I have this little area, and this has already been pre-baked. I baked this because I didn't want to mess it up while I was showing you guys. Now, I have this area here that I want to fill in. So, I got to decide what I want to do, and I really like the idea of a flower in there. So, I'm going to kind of cut this on an angle, and I'm going to piece it in there. And so, I kind of want to see where it's going to fit. And you can even start pushing it in a little, and so you can cut it to the size you need. And so then I just want to come over here and lift this up, and it looks like that's about the size I'm going to need. Use my blade, cut it off down at the bottom, and pull the rest away. So now I've got a rough idea of where this is going to go. If it's a little too far over, I can cut a little more off. Now, remember, this clay has already been baked. Now, you can do this all at one time. I purposely didn't because I didn't want to smush my flowers and things. So it's much easier to work with when your flowers are baked and you don't have to worry about it. Now, at this point, I could stick a little glue under there. I'm not going to. I know what I'm doing from experience and have not had any problems with it. So I usually just use my finger. Now, if I want to get rid of that baked clay that's under there, I can even cut that away. I could cut, with my blade and it'll come off. However, I don't think I'm going to worry too much about it. I'm just going to place this on top because I'm going to still be adding flowers and things, and anything that's not exactly how I want will get covered up anyways. So at this point, I'm going to use my rod to help flatten it. And just roll it gently across. Remember, these flowers are baked, but you don't want to take any chances of anything getting messed up. And really what you have to be concerned with at this point is that you're not trapping any air in between the glass and the clay. And so I want to cut this to size too. When I feel like I have it all right and in the spot, I just come with my blade and cut it off down at the bottom here. Now, some people will cover the bottom. I personally don't like to cover the bottom. I think it's too easy to trap air pockets. And I've done it for so many years. Take it from me, it is easy to do. So it makes it a lot harder. So there you have it. I just pieced that in. And the flowers are going to go all the way around, but I have some extra spaces over here that I want to fill in. So I could come back with what's left and do the same thing, kind of piece it in there and get an idea of what size I'm going to need. And it looks like I'm going to need a little more with this one here. Maybe I'll just do here so that I think that's what I'll do. So let me just cut this. That should be plenty. Now you see how you got to get into the crevices there. There's crevices. I wouldn't be too particular about it because, like I said, I'm going to come back more with flowers and stuff, but you do want to kind of shape it to it, and you're going to use your blade to do that. That's the easiest way. You can also use an X-Acto blade, like so, one of these metal blades. That's very helpful when you're cutting out little areas. And you just want to be careful that you don't, cut off your clay underneath. And so I'm just basically kind of piecing it around, cutting it around my flowers. And so once you have that cut all the way around, then you would again mold it to the jar a little and clean up your edges so that it's nicely, done. So it looks like it's meant to go there. And that the reason why I'm coming in with this same one as in the back, I want to have it complement each other. So I have the colors going all the way throughout the piece. And that way it doesn't look like it was just thrown together. And you'll see when it's completely finished what I mean by that. So here again, I want to cut off any extra. And I can see that underneath I need to remove all this. And here, just slice it with my blade. Okay, now I think I'm going to cut a little more off over here. Just like so. And that should do it. And so use your fingers. If you have sculpting tools, those will work as well. Let me find a sculpting tool that could help us out here. Just need something that's, well, I don't have anything handy at the moment, but let's use the blade, the rod again here. I got some clay on there. I don't want to do that. So just run this over. You want to try and be careful with it. You know, you don't want to mess up, because this is a silk screen. Now, there's a little bunched up piece here I'm not happy with, so I'm going to cut that off too. Because I want it to go around the vase. I don't want it to look like part of the vase. I want it to be the background of the vase. And this vase was just a mold that we have in the shop that I used. There's 3 different ones in the mold, and I chose that one. Now, my finger is really my best tool because you can really get in there. But if there's a little spot that you can't, you know, get in there, that's when you want to use the sculpting tools. And I think I just found them. Here we go. So we have these sculpting tools here, and these make it helpful to like push it into little spots, to roll it in there. See how you can get it in there and really smooth it out and give it that really nice finished look. I mean, that makes the difference between how a piece looks. Because if you have it sticking up and not blending in, you know, it's too obvious. It's too obvious, and it just doesn't look right. And doing that extra little bit makes a really huge difference. And that's when these tools really, really come in handy. And you can just, you know, move them around as you need to and see fit. So that's that. I'll come back and clean it up a little. I'm going to add more flowers, so a lot of this won't even be seen. But as you can see, I'm starting to fill in the areas here, and I'm going to do the same over here with the same design. I'll do that here. Let's see. That's a swirly, so we'll go over here. Let's see. Now, you know, I baked this, and I'm not really happy about this because it was a little cracky when I did it. So let me show you. You can just take your blade and kind of work it, and you can get off baked clay. So if you're not happy with something that you've baked, run your, see, and it comes right off. So let me just do this one last piece for you so you can see. I think that'll be good. And see, I'm going over a little here. I'm overlapping it a little because if I don't, I won't have enough clay to get down in those crevices. So you have to make sure you allot yourself enough so that you can cover the area, you know? I mean, otherwise you're going to be doing a lot of piecing it in, and that makes more work. So I think that's good right there. Let me cut off a little down here. You can always, this is the thing, you can always cut off, you can't put it back as easily as you can take it away. That's what I'm trying to say. So be a little, you know, conservative with what you take away, because like I said, it's always easier to you know, not have to add it back. And so again, I'm using my fingers. This is another good time where you can use your sculpting tools, help you get it in the crevices. And if you have a little extra, once again, use your X-Acto blade. I hope you're being able to see all my steps. The problem is with this jar is quite large, so I'm trying my best to keep it in frame. I apologize if I go out of frame at all, but this is a tough one since it's so big. But you get the gist. It's really a matter of just taking the time to finish it off nicely. You don't want your clay, you don't want your piece to have, you know, any way that it can fall off. So you want to try to get it to adhere as nice as you can, and as well as you can. And anything you're not happy with, the beauty of doing these jars is you can always add a flower or something that will complement it and make it look nice, and you won't even know. I know a few people have made it, well, actually, you know, there has been some comments or whatever about, you know, mistakes. And I feel like mistakes are good. You know, nobody's perfect. I don't care who you are. I've been working with the clay for 27 years. There's going to be mistakes, or there's going to be, you know, accidents or whatever, you know. You can cover them up, and, you know, everything doesn't have to be perfect from the get-go. You know, if you're not happy with something, you can change it. And that's one of the beauties of polymer clay. You're not stuck with anything. You can pull it off. As you saw, I just pulled off baked clay. I wasn't stuck with anything I wasn't happy with. So if you do make mistakes, it's okay. Don't put pressure on yourself that everything has to be so perfect. It doesn't, you know, and not with polymer clay. It's very forgiving, and that is one of the beauties of the medium. So here we have it. I hope you can see there's a piece here that I stuck there and there. I still have more filling in to do, which I'm going to add some more flowers and stuff. But on the top, let me just show you. I don't think I'm going to use this on the top, but just to give you an idea of how I would do the top, I would, one, make sure that I have a cut piece so that it's nice and straight going across, and I'd lay it on and once again do the exact same thing we did here. Cut it and piece it in. And do that all the way around. So that when I'm completely done, it's completely covered. I mean, it won't be covered like in the heart, or there might be little pieces, but you're not going to have to worry at that point. It's not going to come off. It's going to be mostly covered, and it'll look really, really nice. So I just wanted to give you that little bit of extra knowledge about glass that I had, because I have been covering glass for so many years, and I get so many questions about covering glass. As far as baking goes, you can put it in the oven at the same temperature the clarifiers. It won't affect the glass in any way, shape, or form. Glass melts at like 1,000+ degrees, so you have no worries with polymer clay baking at 265 to 300 degrees, depending on the brand. So you have whatever brand you use, you can use glass. So there's no worries. I put it on a baking sheet, straight on a baking sheet. I did not put the lid on to bake it. I baked them separately, side by side. That was the best way for me to do it. Number one, you know, you have limited space. I had to use my home oven. Well, I don't use my home oven. I have a special oven in my studio that used to be in my home. But you will probably have to use a bigger oven for something obviously this big. It's not going to fit in your toaster oven. But, you know, there's no worries. You can clean out your oven afterwards and air it out a little to get rid of any fumes. It's not going to kill you. Don't worry about baking in your home oven once or twice or every now and then. I've done it for many, many years and had no problems. So, again, you can add on to these and do anything you want. There's so many ideas. I love the new textures. Check them out in the shop at createalong.com. That's what I used here. These are silk screens. Gave me a really nice, you know, crackly texture, and I really liked it. And this other one that I used is called the Zany Zinnia, and that's also in the shop at createalong.com. So if you have any questions, you can leave me the question. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to subscribe, because then you'll get every new show we do every week, and you won't have to go hunting for it. So subscribing is a great idea. We also have the Polymer Clay Adventure retreat still going on, as well as the art jewelry and the quilted adventure. So check those out at onlineartretreats.com to see more about that. So thanks for joining me, and I hope you make lots of fairy jars and share them around so we could see them as well. So I'll see you next time.